Okay, let's do a show of hands game. How many people think that I am overdressed for this event besides me? Okay, thank you. I asked my boys, they're 18 and 21, and I was like, I should wear like a clever t-shirt. And they're like, no, you wear a dress to present. So anyway, I had no idea what I was walking into. You guys, I'm so glad you're here because I need your help. And I am about to explain why I need your help and how you can help me. And I am convinced that after you see these slides, you will be on notice of something that maybe you didn't realize is as bad as it is, and you will want to help. So let's get into it. I've got a lot of slides and 55 minutes to talk to you. So let's show of hands again. How many people know what pig butchering is? Oh, they told me you wouldn't know what pig butchering was. Okay, all right, great. Well, then we can skip the first half. Just kidding. All right, let's get to it. So I was a prosecutor for 26 years in Santa Clara County. One of my team members is here. I do not see his beard right now. Maybe he was just here and left. Oh, there he is. Okay, John Aldridge. I had the privilege of working in Santa Clara County with the best, the most elite local and state law enforcement team that did high-tech crime and still does high-tech crime called REACT. And we were among the first to prosecute SIM swappers. We were the first to get cryptocurrency back to victims of scams. And I had the pleasure of being in the cutting edge of law enforcement in this work. But what I found after 26 years of doing it and being inundated by victims is we are not even close to meeting the demand. And we've got a very, very serious international scam problem on our hands, and we need your help. So I'm going to tell you, one of my friends at Google gave me that, and I live by this. Somebody should do something. And at the end of this, you guys need to join me in doing something about this because it is a crisis. Okay, so what is a pig butchering scam? You guys already know. A pig butchering scam is a long con. It's a romance/investment scheme. It is happening at a scale that is unprecedented. The amount of money being stolen from our country is insane. This isn't really made to do a walk-around show, but I will do my best. Okay, so you guys have seen these. You know that this is how they come. Basically, a scammer is trying to get your attention, and they're going to throw out this amount. And when they throw out text like this, if you respond, you know that the next is going to be that. And she's going to say, hi, I'm Jessica. I hope I'm not disturbing you. Because that's the language they use, and they use it because it works. This is a tried and true method that's been going on for over 5 years, and it has managed to fleece our country of hundreds of billions of dollars. It works. As you sit in this room and you think, I don't think I would respond to that, I am here to tell you the person sitting next to you did, or your cousin did, or your brother. That's how ubiquitous this is. What Jessica's going to do is she's going to say, okay, I hope I'm not disturbing you. She will send you a few more texts, and then she will suggest that you move the conversation to WhatsApp because she wants an end-to-end encrypted conversation. Now, Jessica for sure is going to play golf, and she definitely does yoga because they know from their scripts, they know what you respond to. They know what people respond to. And I'm calling her Jessica, but she could just as easily be Ethan or Evan. We know this is happening to women as well as men. We know this is happening to young people as well as older people. So if you've come into this room thinking, this is something that happens to people who aren't very smart and who are old and who are cat ladies, you are absolutely wrong. You do not understand the demographic that this is happening to. This is happening to people you work with, people on your street, people at your Thanksgiving table. Let me tell you a little bit about how it works. So, I don't know if you know the basics of how the pig butchering works, but I'm going to run it through because what I'm doing with all of this is I'm here to tell you that law enforcement is not handling this. Banking is not handling this. Crypto is not handling this. Diplomacy, not handling this. We've got a major crisis. So I come to the best in the world. Can you help me handle this? Can you help me disrupt this? So I want you to pay attention to all the moves that they are making and think, you know what, I know a little bit about movement. I know a little bit about money movement. I know a little bit about fake profiles, and think about how you can contribute to stopping this, because we've got to stop it. It is going to crush us. And I'm not exaggerating. We've got a major problem. I'm going to walk you through it. So Jessica is going to spend an inordinate amount of time texting, and Jessica will create the relationship that everybody wishes they had. I speak to victims who come out of this and they say, yeah, I lost a lot of money, but I never felt so cared for as I did in this scheme. I never felt so loved. And people will actually say, maybe it was worth the $75,000 to have someone loving me like this. That's a crisis. That is something we need to fix. We need more community like this to avoid that. So Jessica will say she's showing off her wealth. She does her yoga, she goes to the country club, she drives a Range Rover, she travels to Hawaii. And she ultimately, after months of this, will say, well, do you know how I'm able to afford this? I invest in cryptocurrency. Oh, I didn't know much about cryptocurrency either, but my uncle did, and my uncle could teach you. Here's another red flag thing that happens in all of them. There is always an attractive lure, and there is always a knowing professor that is going to be the one to teach you how to do the investment. So Jessica will say, you know, I know you're nervous about this, so let's just invest a little bit of money. And the reason that she will say a little bit of money is she will know what is a little bit of money to you. Because she has spent all of this time with you, she knows that you have a college fund for your kids. She knows that you have an IRA, and she knows your net worth. That's her job. And she's built the kind of trust with you that will overcome other natural responses to clearing out your IRA to put into this. So Jessica's going to say, let's start off with $5,000. And for these people, the $5,000 may already be living in their checking account. So they're going to go to their bank and they are going to move this money. Here's a place for interruption. Here's a gap. They're going to move that money and they are going to wire it into what's the level of cryptocurrency familiarity in here? Does everybody recognize what those 4 companies are on the bottom? Raise your hand if you know. Oh my God, of course you do. You could be teaching me who they are. Okay, fine, you know this. You probably know what USDT is too. So what they're going to do is they are going to lead you step by step. Now, the theft has not happened yet. You have been led to open an account at one of these American-based cryptocurrency exchanges. She has told you how to do that. That account is in your name and you own it. Then she's going to tell you, screenshot by screenshot, how to turn those US dollars into Tether, USDT. Now, my React team here might say, well, it's not always like that. Well, no, it's not always like that because there's always going to be a little bit different for everybody else. But this is basically how it's done. This is a good roadmap of how it works. You're going to convert the US dollars into Tether. So now you have a little less than 5,000 Tether. Here's where your money gets stolen. She says, okay, my uncle says that it's a good time to invest. So, and this is where you should invest, in Goo Markets, that's available on the App Store. This looks legit, right? Kind of. Like, it's not obvious to me that this is fake. But there are plenty of ways to figure out that it is. Anyway, so she's going to lead you to Goo Markets, which in its name should be enough for make you think twice. But she's going to lead you to Goo Markets, and she is going to help you set up an account there. And that you are going to set up an account with your name. You're going to move your stuff into Goo Markets, and you are going to make the investment and the trade when she tells you to make it. And so what you'll find is that in a few days, you're going to make a trade, and now you have $6,800. You're going to make a trade, now you've got $8,300. And by the end of the week, you have $10,000 in Tether. And Jessica might even suggest that you take some out because she wants to show you that this is your account. But the fact is, your money is long gone. Your money has moved down the blockchain already, and I don't want to say it's not recoverable, but it has moved and it has a head start because you don't realize it's been stolen yet. That's the problem. So it's going to move down the blockchain. It's going to move through money mules. It's going to get cashed out. And those, again, are places where we could be disruptive. So think about those steps. You're convinced now. You've put 5,000 in and you have 10,000 and you've seen the evidence. She drives a fancy car. She travels all over the place and she's in love with you and you're gonna have a fantastic life together. And you can imagine what this does to the endorphins in your brain. And all of a sudden, this all seems very plausible. They are working. The enemy works with people with PhDs who know how to deceive us. They know how to trick our brains in the same way that people who run cults do. And so she's going to get you to move that money. And what you can see, I think there are ways that we need to start thinking about this, right? There are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of these, of Goo Markets LLC. You can see that the California Department of FPI, whatever that is, Financial Protection and Innovation, does their level best to make you aware that some of these are scams. But our victims are not in the place to see that. They're not looking for that. They're not expecting this. So that's not a great, it's good, everything's good, but it's not good enough for what we need to be doing. We need to be taking down these at scale, and we need to be figuring out, and we have people that know how to do this already, that can figure out that this domain is linked to 10 other domains that's linked to others. And so we need to figure out how to dial those back and how to scale this up and how to get this done more quickly. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to put in every penny that you have. That's how a pig butchering operation works. It does not end until they've taken everything you have. And then when you go to take some out, you're going to be told, no, the first time you can have your 3,000, but now if you want it, you're going to have to pay 24%. 24% of your portfolio that's now probably $1 million. So now you've got to come up with $240,000. And you'll say, oh, okay, we'll take it out of my gains. They'll say, no, you cannot take it out of your gains. It has to be new money, and that's when our victims, your brother, your cousin, and the person at my book club are going back to their banks, and they're getting an equity line of credit, and they're putting another $240,000 into this thing because they think it's going to flip right around. So by the time they come see me and they come see React, they have lost everything they have. They are heavily in debt. Maybe they didn't tell their wife about any of this because it started with Jessica. And they are in a really, really bad way. And they are inconsolable. And quite frankly, where once it was easier to recover some of that money, and I'll tell you about our success, it's not that easy anymore. And recoveries aren't happening. And so what's happening is we've got a whole system, a whole nation of really disenfranchised people who are going to law enforcement asking for help and hoping for help. And the fact is the money's gone. The enemy's better than us. They are outrunning us. They are stealing all of our money. So if you pay those taxes, you might get this. Congratulations, you've paid your taxes. And now you need to pay $10,000 USDT. And this is the sunk cost fallacy. I'm sorry, friends in this corner. I've got bigger pictures coming. Sunk cost fallacy. I've already got all my money in there. Why don't I borrow $10,000 from my friend? Because I bet this is when I get my money out. And you never will. So where is this happening? How many of you already know that this is happening in Southeast Asia? How many of you already know that this is happening at major scale? What are you guys doing here? Sounds like you guys know all this. All right, okay, good. Well, good. So I don't need to convince you, so we can, that's part of it sometimes. So the scale is insane, and the way this is happening is insane. This is being run by Chinese organized crime. And when I say Chinese organized crime, I really mean that. I'm not generalizing. I am talking about known Chinese organized criminals. I'm talking about Broken Tooth Koi. I'm talking about Shenzi. I'm talking about people that have been prosecuted and that we know are criminals from triads, and they are the people behind this whole operation. And they are masterful, and they are funded, and they are armed with everything that they need to run this at a scale that is literally bulldozing us, literally running all over us. So it's important to look at how much money is in this. Now, part of the problem is we don't know. We don't know because nobody is keeping this data in a way that is functional. The only data we really have is what people tell the FBI. Now, let's think about the kind of person that this is going to happen to. This is somebody who has lost all of their money and the love of their life in the same day. They're crushed. They're not thinking, oh, what I really need to do is provide all this information to the FBI. We also know that what's happening on a small scale in the United States, a large scale in the smaller agencies, is people are coming to their local law enforcement and they are literally being turned away. They are being at best turned away. but also humiliated and also made to feel stupid. And also you gave away your money when that's not how it happened. And actually that's another whole piece of this is we need to change the language. I think a lot of what is portrayed in the media is, A, this is happening to old people, not actually the case. We can go over this in a minute. And that people are giving their money away. What they're not doing is giving their money away. What they're doing is thinking they are investing in their future for their family. That's what's happening. And that's why it's working so well. They're not supporting someone else, they're building their own program. So now when we look at what we do know, and we know this isn't nearly the number, is we know last year, 2024 alone, 6.5 billion lost in investment scams. Let's add confidence and romance, and we've got over $7 billion lost. Not lost, stolen. $7 billion stolen times, you could say 1 in 10 people report, maybe 1 in 15 people report, but let's go conservative and say it's 1 in 7. So 7 times 7 is $50 billion, United States alone, last year alone. Massive numbers, and going up. This was up 40% from last year. What other crime is up 40% in the United States that we are not taking notice of? Scams are the ugly stepsister. Nobody cares about scams, but this is what's going to ruin us. Let's look at who this is happening to. If you look at our seniors, and let's put, for somebody who's in the middle of this bracket, let's put the seniors down here and say that it's 60 and up, right? And so 60 and up, if you add up all of this, that's more than our seniors have lost. It's under 60 is getting crushed, over 60 also getting crushed, but not as much. This isn't an elder fraud problem. This is an attack on the United States problem, is what this is. And maybe you think, oh, well, the seniors have more money to lose. Still, the math doesn't math. There's more money being lost under 60 than over 60, yeah.
Ma'am, when's the right time for questions?
Give me a quick question.
Do you have any insight into other countries?
Yes, so they came at China first, and then China shut that down because China can control phones and China can do a lot of things that we don't put up with in the United States. They came for Australia, and Australia is doing a better job. UK doing a better job. We're doing not a great job, which is why I'm here talking to you guys about this. Okay, so Erin, I've heard about this and I've got some ideas. So here's the thing, I'm going to show you 3 times. I'm going to give you a QR code, and you guys are going to be like, oh, I don't trust QR codes. It's from me, and I'm not going to poison you. But here's the thing, I'm not here to poison you. I'm here to get your help. So I'm going to put this up. You're laughing at me because you're like, no, she is going to poison me, but I'm still not. I'm still not. Here's the thing, I'm going to put this up 4 times, and you are, and by the 4th, if you are not compelled to help me out, then I am going to, I probably will go drink my sorrows somewhere because I need you to help me. All right, let's talk about what's going on here. Let's talk about how they're making this work. They are making this work, rewind the tape, pre-COVID, Chinese organized crime says, let's build Chinese love gambling. I mean, this is what Chinese organized crime is saying. The Chinese love gambling. They have an appetite for gambling. They have an appetite for crypto. Neither of those are allowed in China. China's got a Belt and Road initiative going on. They are building solid roads in countries that need their help. I'm going to turn this into a national security issue, so listen up, because that is what's coming next. But here's the deal. They build from China down to Sihanoukville, Cambodia, a beautiful road, and Chinese organized crime says, super. We are going to build casino towers, and we are going to run casinos and gambling out of those. Now, look at this. This is literally next door. This is what we had. This is what is, when I point, maybe you can't see from where you are. It's water buffalo. Like, this is not a metropolis. Okay, so here's what they did. They built all of this, and they look hack in this, but in person they look a lot better. And you can see what it was. And so they thought, okay, great, we've got all these great casinos. Come on, everybody, you can come here, you can gamble, and you can launder your money, because that's what's really happening in these casinos. COVID hits. Nobody's moving. So Chinese organized crime says, what are we gonna do? Shah Tzu Pan. Shah Tzu Pan, that is their name for it. It is pig butchering. We are going to start long con relationships with people, and we're going to lure them into investments in cryptocurrency and steal all of their money. Perfect, let's do it. Let me just show you this. This shows you the concentration of casinos in Sihanoukville versus Las Vegas. Right? Stop. Come on. Okay, so how are they going to fill those towers? Well, here's another gap. They are going to go to Meta, and they are going to plaster all over Meta ads like this. They look good, right? Now, I have been talking to a man from Uganda who was just released from one of these compounds, and I asked him about his situation. He says, in Uganda, I made $100 a month. $100 a month. And somebody came in and said, I can get you $1,000 a month. You got to move overseas and do some data entry. And he's like, yeah, I think I could do that for 6 months. And so he does. That's what's happening. This looks good when you have 20% unemployment in your country and you need to feed your family. And they're that good. They're going to do interviews with you. They're going to make you take a typing test. They are going to have a final interview. You're going to get hired, and you are going to get flown to Bangkok to do this work. And here's what happens when you arrive in Bangkok. Well, your passport is taken, your mobile phone is taken, and you are led into this. Now, let's look at what this used to look like. So here, that's this. There's no walls around it. Now we've encased them, and it is a prison. So you're going to be driven in through a gate, men with AK-47s ready. You're like, what is this? I'm here to enter data. Nope, no sir, you are now a scammer. You're going to be working 16-hour days. If you don't like it, we will beat you with a baseball bat, or we will make you beat him with a baseball bat while everybody watches. We will hit you with an electric baton. Those are the basic ones. Those are the ones that are appropriate to discuss at the Thanksgiving table. I am here to tell you that there is war crimes level violence going on inside these buildings. Ghastly, horrific things that I've heard firsthand. Now, many of you have been to college. This looks a lot to me like a college dormitory. So imagine a college dormitory, in fact, the entire campus of the dormitory being filled, 6 to 8 people a room, with their only job is to scam Americans from all of their money. That's the scale of this. Imagine, you wouldn't believe it if I said, hey, look over at the Fontainebleau. You know what? That's filled with people that are scamming people. That's what's happening in there. And then I said, oh, actually, it's every hotel on the Strip. That's the size of this. So when I was a prosecutor, my office told me I could not go to Cambodia, too dangerous. So end of story, I retired. I realized this was too much. This was too big. I couldn't do it from where I was sitting. And so the first trip I took was to Cambodia. I teamed up with some journalists. We drove 1,000 miles, and we went from Phnom Penh to all of these outlying areas. They didn't take me to the ones that really have already been established. They wanted me to see the up-and-comers. Now, I want you to pay attention here. This is Sihanoukville that I told you about. And for those, it's the bottom corner. And then directly next to it is Dara Sakor Airport. So keep in mind this distance when we come back for national security. So we drove around Cambodia. What I saw was astounding, jaw-dropping, life-changing. First of all, everything's under construction. Everything is under construction everywhere. What you see are blueprints, cranes, buildings. Now, I live in California. And to go to Los Angeles, I need to drive through the Central Valley. Imagine you're driving through the Central Valley and you're seeing stuff like this pop up, where you know there's no business in the Central Valley. And there's no business being built. There's just these massive buildings like this. This is a block long. In the middle of outside Salinas is what this is like. It's jaw-dropping, and you're thinking, I can't get over the scale of this. I can't get over the audacity of this, because that's what's happening in Cambodia. This is a scam economy. That is now their business. Scams make up more than half of their GDP. Their GDP used to be made up of tourism and garments. And now with the tariffs, we've got even more interest in doing scamming because we can't make these garments for a reasonable price. Whatever, we can debate whether or not the garment industry is good or bad, but the fact is, what's not good, yeah.
You've seen this happen in Africa as well?
Oh, stand by. Stand by. Okay. Did you peek at my slides? All right, so here's the thing. So what got me was, this is what they built in 2000. And they said, okay, let's give this a test and let's see if anybody comes for us. So we've got this building, we'll stack it with people. And what they found? No, nobody's coming for them. Nobody's doing a thing about this. They are flourishing. So they think, you know what? Let's go big. We've got the money because we've stolen it. So let's go big and let's build this whole thing. It is so obvious, it is so blatant, it is so accepted as an industry. If you ask people on the street, like, what's going on in there? They'll say, oh, online. They do online in there. That's what they call it. So massive, 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 massive. And like, look at, I was on a vacation in Hawaii yesterday, but what this looks like to me are like resort hotels in Hawaii being built. And they're prisons. Is what they are. They're prisons. And so it's everywhere. This is someone, Amnesty International did a great bang-up report that just came out, but like, look at the size of this and look, like, here you go. Has no place here. It's so obvious. Yes?
Are those Chinese construction companies that also about the money movement? I mean, we could track terrorism easily. How come we're not seeing it?
Because nobody cares. So yes. Yes, so let's talk about it and think about it. And yes, those are Chinese companies building it. Let's talk about that. All right, national security. So, okay, so the Chinese organized crime comes to Cambodia 10 years ago and says, we're gonna build out this area called Dar Sakor. Remember, it's down here, it's like this point. There's nothing there. And we're gonna make it a great tourism location. We're going to build hotels and casinos and all kinds of things. Well, and an airport. So I went to Dar Sakor, and the only thing that is there are some hotels that are now being used as scam centers, and this beautiful airport. An airport with, I want to call it a freeway, what is that, a runway length that is long enough to accommodate military aircraft. So who's running all of this? Chinese organized crime and paving the way for Chinese involvement. So it's not just me that's saying this. We've got a huge geopolitical problem. We've got a major geopolitical problem. And why it's even worse is I showed you that airport is adjacent to the Ream Naval Base. Ream Naval Base was where we used to have US ships there. Until China came in and said, we'll dig that port for you, we'll make it better. And we're not going to stay there for very long. We're just going to put our warships there, and but also we're going to send 2 more ships. Okay, so do we get it? Like it's obvious, right? Like this is now China's naval port with an adjacent airport, and nobody's paying attention. It's all happening. It's all there. It's obvious. So Erin, this is a disaster. Count me in. Is anybody going to join me yet? Okay, fine. Are you seriously not going to scan this? Okay, well, I will tell you more then. Fine, let's go. Fine, you think I don't have more? I do. All right. Did you know that 200,000 people are enslaved over there? 200,000 people? And that is a conservative estimate. First of all, that's wrong. This actually, the UN Human Rights Office said it was 240. It was 120 in Cambodia and 120 in Myanmar, and they said that 2 years ago. I'm talking to a guy who is inside one in Cambodia right now, and he told me that 783 people showed up yesterday. Also, friends, does anybody know what this is? What are these white dots? Shout it out. Yes. Okay, so when we are thinking about what we can do and where we can apply pressure, it's very easy, and lots of people want to say, oh, this is overseas, can't do anything about it. Oh, it's in enemy territory, can't do anything about it. You know what we can do something about? American companies that are enabling this. We'll talk more. Okay, this is KK Park. KK Park is the first, the OG, the one that was built for, let's build a city for scamming. This is in Myanmar. We've left Cambodia, now we're going to Myanmar. Both of them border Thailand. Think about the enablement of things that have to come through Thailand to enable for this to happen. So they build all of this. These are 5 stories high. They can accommodate thousands of people in there. And this is what it looked like. This looks like maybe a 2021 picture. This is the Moy River. It separates. This side is Thailand, and up here is Myanmar. Okay, what is the obvious thing you are seeing in Thailand right now? And if you are not seeing the red and white communications tower, it's because there's a podium in your way, and I'm really sorry. But here's the deal, right? So Thailand was enabling the telecommunication that is stealing our money. Thailand, our ally, was doing that. So I started calling this out 3 years ago. I've been talking about this, and I'm saying, am I too loud?
Oh, no, you're fine.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay, great. All right, so I started talking about the telecommunications tower. Why are we not taking that down? Why are we not stopping that? So they finally decided to do something about that. When was that? February 2025. So how many more Americans got all their money stolen from them while they were playing around? All right, let's talk about the power of the enemy. This is what this whole place looked like in February 2020. This is what you just saw. And so it's just being graded in February 2020. I think of this as like 2 camel humps here. This here is a small village in Thailand. Here's what it looked like 2 years later. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. So not trying to like be that person, but I came from Maui, which was awesome. But 2 years ago today, Lahaina burned down. And if you see Lahaina right now, it's flat. There's nothing in Lahaina. I wish that we had the resources that Chinese organized crime does. Because now think about this. Here are other ways to disrupt, right? Who is feeding these people? Where is the food coming from? Where are they getting the materials to build all of this? Where are they getting the human power to build all this? How do they have that many people that know how to build all this already? What's the line of shipping? Is this stuff being flown to Myanmar? I don't think so. It's probably coming through Thailand. Where are the ways that we can disrupt that? That's 2 years in. Now let's look at 2025. Now, friends on this side, we've got all of this filled in. And I was standing here in March and looked over here. This is now filled in too. And this picture is, my reading of Thai is less good than I'd like, but it was early, it was the beginning of this year. And so now we've got 7-story buildings in that. Nobody is stopping them. And look at all the land they have to build on. This is a crisis. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the violence that's going. Can you recognize what that is? It's a terrible picture. This, my son said, is that a severed head? No, that's a head connected to a body that's been buried up to his head. That's his punishment. And then the fraud company buried people again. Are you kidding me? In 2025, just across the river from where I'm standing, this is what's happening? It would be one thing if KK Park was the only one in Myanmar, but if you go just steps down the river from where you are, you will see what's known as Gate 25. This is Gate 25, and look at the cookie cutter buildings. We're not gonna even use any real estate. We are just gonna plop them right next to each other, fill them up, bring in the human trafficked workers and keep going. Here's another one. Contrast to what's happening in Thailand. Okay, this was crazy. So this is the worst. This is known as, people who come from there say it's hell on earth. When I saw it, I'm up on the hill over here. I get out of the car, I hear what sounds like gunshots going off. And we realized, no, it's fireworks coming from here because we have a groundbreaking ceremony because we're gonna expand out here. I came back 4 months later. This is built and this is deforested and ready. Not just Asia. Here's Dubai. And that actually came from one of you guys. I don't know if you know Jim Browning, but Jim Browning posted, hey, this is going on in Dubai, and Jim Browning did me the service of putting the coordinates on there, and I sure would not tell React before I was going to go there, but I took down those coordinates and figured out how to get myself there, and that's what that is. That continues. Okay, here is the Philippines. This is in Metro Manila. That's a scam center, right? Like, what else is that? This is in Metro Manila. It is blocks from the US Embassy. This location has been raided. So the difference between what's going on everywhere else and what's going on in the Philippines is the Philippines, they are raiding places. They are raiding places. I'm not saying that they've got this wired and they're doing the best job of anybody out there, but what they're doing is they're disrupting it. And they are taking away very valuable real estate from these people that was expensive to build, and they're allowing us to showcase what's going on in there. So I went there, I checked out what was happening. It's insanity, and this is the torture room. And so they showed us how people would be handcuffed here and beaten. There were various implements to beat people inside there. Let me show you this. Oh wait, I have to do something where it says play the audio, right? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? You guys are DEF CON, you know how to do this. There's a thing where, do you know what I'm talking about? You have to say like use natural audio. Oh my God, do you guys, okay. Stop it. All right, well I'm gonna try it then. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we go back to slideshow from current slide. Okay, all right, so this is me. I'm having a rough day because I just got in from a long haul flight and it's super humid, and hang on, so it's not showing up on my screen. One sec, give me one sec. Oh, but you can't hear me. Oh, I'm so interesting. Okay, well, and I can't stop it and I can't advance. Okay, let's go back. All right, so I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna tell you what's happening here. Okay, so this is what they're using. So they said this is a level 6 armored car. I didn't know what that was. So these are seized cars that they're using. So this is one of the cars that they're using. I didn't know what level 6 meant. Maybe you guys do. I'm sure React does. If you knock on it, it can withstand AK-47 fire. It's a very serious thing. So I'm knocking on the window to be like, you can't even hear anything. And then over here, I'm going to knock on a regular car, and it's going to be loud, and it's going to show the difference between the two. But the point is, this is how the mobsters were driving around. And that's how we need to think of this, is these are mobsters. This is Chinese mafia. They are taking all of our money, and they're driving around fancy cars. Okay, so then it only gets bigger. So this is, I'm sure you've been to parks where Silicon Valley, like tech parks. This is what is happening here. So I was taken to a facility that they raided. This is an hour and a half out of Manila, and this is what it looks like. Look at the size of this thing. There were 35 buildings that were used for this. And I'll tell you what, it emerges out of nowhere. It emerges out of land with water buffaloes. And so I obviously am telling you lots of interesting things that you'll never get to know about, but what you will get to know about is this. This is a big boss villa behind me. I, as a prosecutor, although my colleague John Aldrich from React gets to walk through my adversary's house all the time, I never do because I'm the prosecutor, I don't get to do that on a warrant. But I got to walk through Big Boss Villa. And seeing the flagrant and ostentatious spending of money inside this house. I'm talking about high-end handbags. I'm talking about fancy wine. I'm talking about a whole, it's 5 stories. It's as opulent as you can imagine. The doors close like a bank vault. It's crazy, and there are escape tunnels underneath it. So they know what they're doing, and guess what? When they raided it, no one was there. Okay, so now I'm looking even better in this, and because I am now inside, it's like 100 degrees and 100, it's like the weather here, only with a ton of humidity. This is where the scams take place. And they left this as it is for right now. So I'm about to pick up, these are notebooks where they kept notes on who they were talking to. That's a script of how they do this. Here's another notebook with with notes in there. I went through those and I could see, you must be a smooth criminal for stealing my heart. I'm going to point out the Chinese decorations. There's tons of wires down here. It's insane. And then I'm just going to walk out like dripping with sweat and tell you how crazy it is to be in the room where people were beaten and people were forced to do this work and steal billions of dollars from the United States. It's outrageous. Oh, okay. Now, so now we're going to keep talking about opportunities to disrupt. So this is a place called Golden Phoenix Entertainment City, and outside the Pacific Real Estate Building, like this stuff is known. It is known what they are called. Like there are a million shell companies. Yes, it is difficult to figure this out. It is not impossible to figure this out. Now here, what I'm about to show you on this side is what happened, and you can see the big gate here. Like these people are locked down inside there. And one day they escaped, and it looked like this. And then you can see the guys with the bats coming for them. So you'll see in a minute, they're all gonna get in the water. There's a river there, and there was a 16-year-old, because yes, they do also imprison youths in there. These are all their heads bobbing in the water. These people who knows if they know how to swim, and in fact, many of them did not, and a couple of them drowned. Okay, so other ways that we can be disruptive. When I stood in Thailand, outside KK Park, I stood there for not very long, and it was a constant movement of big trucks because somebody's got to bring supplies into a town with this many people in it. But I also saw this, KK Concrete 2024, and those came by like every 5 minutes. And so on the way out, we drove by this. Oh, that is KK Concrete. That is their whatever you call a concrete setup station, and this is in Thailand, our allies. So take a peek here. You'll notice there's a 2-1 right here. If you look at the bottom, trust me if you can't see it. And so when I saw this, I immediately went from there to a speaking engagement in Australia that was attended by a number of law enforcement from these different countries, and I started talking about this, and I was like, this is low-hanging fruit. Why can we not shut down the concrete that is being used to build the homes for slaves that are stealing our money? And then I came back 4 months later, and I'm not going to say I did this, but I'm not going to say I didn't either. So, stop. So here's your 21 right here. That's where they were. I literally couldn't believe it, because what this does is it shows us what if we could. And that is one of the things I stand by, I talk about all the time. What if we could? What if we could be disruptive in some way? Did this fix everything? No. Did it make it more difficult, more expensive, more time consuming? Yes. And that is our best shot right now. Okay, now other things that we could be disruptive about. So this is me across the river from KK Park, zooming in on the Starlink. So I told you that they took down the telecommunications tower in February 2025, but it was too late because they're already set up with Starlink. So American companies are enabling Chinese organized crime to steal all of our money. That's what it looks like. That's a really good close-up. You can see very clearly what that is. Okay, here's another thing. They all use Apple phones. They use Apple phones. They use old Apple phones. They use Apple 7s. And this is how they charge them. And so American hardware and technology is being used to steal this. Now, here's what I am. I was a sexual assault prosecutor. I came to the high-tech team. I loved it. But what I am is a mission-driven person. I am watching this happen. I am watching victims be crushed. I'm talking to people who have been inside these compounds and are losing their minds. I don't know what you can do with the knowledge that these are Apple phones or Starlink or KK Concrete. I don't know what your capability is. You're telling me that you can figure out all kinds of stuff about illicit finance. I know it all can be done. we've got to put our heads together and figure out how to do that. So the point of what I'm telling you today is to tell you what exists, what is. I always love to talk about what is happening right now. And I am over 50, a woman, and I like to travel. And I have a Facebook account because I'm old like that. And so when I scroll through, what I am seeing is my Facebook feed is overrun with scammers. Overrun. Like, it's not even a close call anymore. I never see friends. I only see scammers. And I see Emily Parker. Now, Emily Parker, first of all, if you read the content, you're like, that doesn't sound like something she would write. Emily from Nashville. And so I'm up overnight and I think, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to run a reverse image search. I don't know if that's going to come up. Yes, it is. Okay. And so I run the reverse image search and I find out, oh, that's Anje Maronka. She is a German influencer. Oops, you're going to see it again because I want you to. And then you're going to see that she's a German influencer. And not a very good one, actually. Anyway, maybe that's the whole point. So I took this, and I really believe in policing your own piece of the internet. And so I reached out to my over 50 women's travel club and said, hey, this person is not who she says she is, FYI. And then I posted on LinkedIn, and I said, is that Mark Evans? Oh, okay. And then I posted on LinkedIn, and somebody got back to me the very next day. Actually, two people did. One said, I'm from Germany, and I am on QVC, and she's my co-host. The other person said, and she's not Emily Parker from Nashville. And the second person said, I'm a banker in Nashville. Thank you for posting that, because I just matched with this person on Bumble. And so thank you for saving my wallet and my heart. Here's another thing. These are the WhatsApp groups that Meta proudly told us that if you're from Meta in here, I will happily talk to you, but that Meta told us just the other day they took down 7 million of these. Okay. And then what are you going to do next week when there's 7 million more? What was the source of that? And how can we report those to you in a way that's functional so that you take more of them down? These are my concerns. These are the ways we need to do this. This is an example of a learned professor and a cute young girl who's going to help you get through it. Well, that's all you get to know about that. These are the ads. Okay, so these are all over the place. Now, here's another thing. I think it just says Telegram. Oops, nope, hang on. We're going back. Okay, the other thing is Telegram. Telegram is a gold mine, and we should be mining that and figuring out a way to talk about it. Now, I tried to put some more slides in, but I'm not going to log into your Wi-Fi because I heard I'm not supposed to do that. But it says, okay, so they're talking about KK Logistics, KK Parks Logistics. They're shipped from Guangdong, China. Their company is called Jinju Logistics with a domestic warehouse in Shenzhen. And they name people. And Lao Lao has another role here managing this. There is gold in here. Whether this is true or not true, don't know, but it's certainly a starting place. And it's certainly a starting place that we could build information about and corroborate and figure out how to take down their supply chain. These are things that could be done. So, friends, is this your wheelhouse? Could you have this? Okay, and if you're not going to, fine. If you're not going to do it, fine. You can also reach out to me at ideas@operationshamrock.org. If you think that I'm trying to poison you, go to operationshamrock.org. So here's a little bit about what we figured out how to do at the REACT Task Force. We saw this problem. We saw this problem in March 2022, and we got on it. And geniuses like John Aldridge were able to figure out how to trace that cryptocurrency stolen from the victim. John was not put off by, oh, the money goes overseas. And what? And let's try and figure out how we can still get it. So John and his team traced that money, figured out where it went. There's no blueprint in the state of California for how you do this. There is no law that says you can do this or can't do this. And so we forged our way forward with what if we could. And we were able to do that. So we were able to get money back for victims. And that was amazing. And we had a blueprint. And so we got good press. And so good press meant people started coming to us. And people who we were able to solve a case for, somebody in Dallas who lost $500,000, we found that money. So we cold called Dallas and said, hi, we've got $500,000 that we could help get back to a victim. And they said, we don't do crypto. Okay, so certainly Orange County, California does crypto because we found $250,000 belonging to a victim in Orange County. No, they do not do crypto. Okay, so it's React. And so then we thought, well, there's got to be others like us. But here's our mission for 2023. Let's teach everybody we know how to do this, and let's inspire them that this can be done. And while we were doing that, we found people like Conan Beach. We found people who doesn't want to be identified, Mark back there, who know how to do this work. And we built something called the Crypto Coalition. We started off with in October 2020, I got you 5. We started off with a meeting, and we had 85 people come to it. And today we are up to 2,400 members of state, local, national, international law enforcement who communicate on a listserv, and we have a webinar once a month to talk about all of these issues and what can be done.
Is there a crypto ISAC as well?
There's a crypto ISAC. What I will say is there's a million puzzle pieces. Our game has to be, let's put all those pieces on the table and put them together. And so I retired, I built something called Operation Shamrock. We needed a nonprofit to bring together all the pieces on the table. And so that's what I've done. I built this. We had a fantastic law enforcement group that's a good start, and now we are building banking groups. We have a great victim group where we provide them with information like, what am I supposed to do now that I owe all these taxes on the money I pulled out from my IRA? We talk about those kind of things. We have a website. Our website it is a one-stop shop for understanding what's happening here. We talk about this all the time. We are all about awareness. I have a podcast where I interview people who are in this to talk about what can be done and to expose what's happening. And we talk to victims, we talk to law enforcement, we talk to people who are in this fight. And I got to testify in front of Congress, and what I told them is what I'm going to tell you. We need a national leader, we need a national strategy, and we need a national task force to do this. It is no longer acceptable for us all to say, the money's overseas, the people are overseas, I don't know what we're going to do. Well, what we're going to do is lose all of our money, because they're not going to stop. This is my LinkedIn. I talk about this all the time, and I am going to give you one more chance. You fired me up, Erin West. Sign me up for Shamrock. So, what I'm looking for are your ideas. You do not have to show up at my house and wash my car for me. What I need you to do is say, Erin, you know what? I've done a little work in illicit finance. Maybe do this. Hey, Erin, here's what I think about the supply chain. So that is what I'm asking for today. I think I'm out. Nope, I have a little bit so I can take questions. But thank you all for being so interested. Stop. Okay, yeah.
Certainly everything you're doing and inspiring is helpful, but isn't this fundamentally an act of war against the United States? And shouldn't we be treating it as such?
Absolutely, we should. Yes, I couldn't agree more. I think we're very insistent on protecting our physical borders, and we're not looking at our digital borders, and that's exactly what this is. This is a long-term thing, and yes, we should be doing that. Yeah. Like Starlink? Yeah, like did I write them a letter? Yeah, and did they not respond? Yeah, and then did Wired magazine do a story on it? Yeah. No, they're not interested. No. Yeah.
What have been your biggest successes in terms of working with law enforcement against drugs, getting people taken down and arrested?
Nobody's been arrested. That's not true. That's not true at all. Let me tell you, actually, about the REACT task force and how they arrested couriers on U.S. soil and took them to trial and got them convicted, and yesterday got them sentenced. So we need to work with what we can work with. So let's disrupt couriers. Let's disrupt what we can do. Have any of the kingpins been arrested, charged? No. But yes, we're doing what we can. Yeah. Okay, so what China has done, China has put pressure on the compounds to give up the people inside the compounds. And so what they've done is they have sent their 737s to Myanmar, to Thailand, to pick up all these people that they got them to release because they put pressure on it. And then now they've put all those people in jail who, many of them are human trafficking victims. Yes. Yeah. Gotta go? All right. All right. Thanks so much.
Please go outside, come back. Thank you.